Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. I would like to welcome you to our second class of this semester, in which we are going to discuss exchange rates. As you may know, currencies are not fixed against each other. As you may remember, a few years back, $1 used to be equal to 3 ringgits. 10 years ago, it was about 2.5. Nowadays, it's about 4, which means nowadays we need more ringgits to buy dollars. What do we call this? We say our currency is depreciating, whereby Americans can say their value is appreciating, meaning that they can buy our currency with lower number of units of their currency, and vice versa. It's the opposite for us. We need more currencies, units of ours to buy theirs. Okay, so in today's class we are going to have two parts. In the first part we will understand how do we determine exchange rates, what does it mean that it appreciated, depreciated, how can we calculate that. In part 2, we will discuss the factors, the main factors that play a role in changing these currencies one against another. So let's begin with the next slide. Okay. So first we need to define depreciation and appreciation. I'm sure you're familiar of the word. Something depreciated means the value decreased, and vice versa. The opposite is appreciated. So the value of my house appreciated. It means I have a house. Today the value appreciated. So the same house is worth more units today due to some reason. Let's not focus on that now. In this part, we will focus on how much did it appreciate, how much did it depreciate, okay? So how do we measure that? Similar to any differential. So to measure the change in anything, let's say temperature. Today's temperature is 32. Yesterday, let's say it was 30. So what is the percentage change in today's temperature compared with yesterday? So we need two values, current and past. So how do we compute it? Same with temperature, same with currencies, percentage change of anything. We take the value of today, we deduct the value of yesterday, and we divide by the value of yesterday. So today, or present minus past divided by past. So the answer can be both positive and negative. If it's positive, it indicates that this value appreciated, it increased, and vice versa. If it's negative, it means the value depreciated. So let's take an example. We have two currencies here. We have the Canadian dollar and we have the euro. So the value of these two is basically against USD, US dollar. So 1 USD in January 1st was equal to 70 cents. So 1 Canadian dollar used to be equal to 70 cents of American dollar. However, for euro, it was 1.18. So 1 euro equal 1.18 USD, more than $1. How about February, March, April? You can see you have a list of values for the January until July. About how many months? 7 months. So what shall you do right now is compute the percentage of change between each month and the next. How do we do that? We just discussed it in the previous slide. We take the value of today, We deduct yesterday or last month, the past value, and we divide by the past value. So as you can see, in February, basically Canadian dollar appreciated. How much does it appreciate? 1.43%. Okay, how about the euro? The answer was negative 1.69, depreciation. So the value of the euro is depreciating against USD. You need more euros to buy USD, and vice versa for Canadian dollars, it is appreciating. So you need basically less Canadian dollars to buy the same amount of American dollars. So now we're gonna focus a little bit on economics just to see the reaction of these factors. So the exchange rate represents the price of a currency. So what's the exchange rate, guys? Same with any commodity, a currency has also a price, and this price must be determined. How is it determined? In economics, everything, they related to supply and demand. Same with anything else. More people want it, price will go up. Less people want it, price will go down. Okay, now let's focus on the supply. So you print more US dollars, supply increase, people don't want it anymore. So when supply increase, price will also basically decrease, and vice versa. When you don't print, you don't have, it becomes rare, so more people want it. So basically supply reacts in the opposite way as demand. So first we will focus on the demand. So demand of a currency increases when the value of the currency decreases. So demand increases when the value decreases. So if the value of USD decreases and we have a business, we import raw materials, we might start importing from US. Why? Because their value of the currency depreciated, so the price remained the same in USD, but in my term, in my Malaysian ringgit term, it's cheaper now. Why? Because I can buy USD cheaper, which means the price is cheaper for me. So it increases when the value of the currency decreases, leading to a downward sloping demand. What about supply of a currency for sale? How about the supply? Let's go from the perspective of the supply. So supply increases when the value of the currency increases. Okay, so the supply, when will it increase? When the value increases, leading to an upward slope of sloping supply schedule. Now, what about supply and demand? What did we discuss at the beginning? How do we determine the price of this, anything? How many people want it? How many people, what people are ready to pay? And how many of it we have? If it's one, maybe I'll ask for a very high price, depending on how many people wants it. And so on and so forth. So basically, supply and demand will determine the price at a certain point in time. So, same with the stocks price in the market. How does the price how do we determine the price? Every day we have buyers, we have sellers, because the buyers have extra money. The sellers, they want to get rid of the stock, get money, maybe use it for something else, maybe buy other stocks. Maybe they wanted to, for many reasons, right? Maybe they want to buy something, a car. So depending on the level of demand and supply, we determine the price of stock. Similarly for currencies. Now, change in equilibrium exchange rate. So we discussed that supply and demand will basically play a major role to determine the price at certain point in time. Now, what about increase in demand schedule? What will happen? So when there is an increase in demand schedule, banks will increase the exchange to the level at which the amount demanded is equal to the amount supplied in the foreign exchange market. Now, what about the decrease? So now we will see the opposite shape. It will go back. So what about the decrease in the demand supply? So banks will reduce the exchange to the level at which the amount demanded is equal to the amount supplied. So as you can see here, in change in the equilibrium exchange rate, now we will move to the supply. So we discussed demand. Now let's see supply. It should be actually, if you go back to the previous two slides, it will react the opposite way, right? Because we said supply and demand react the opposite way in relative to price. So increase in supply schedule. Banks will reduce the exchange to the level at which the amount demanded is equal to the amount supplied, to what they have in the foreign exchange market. And finally, decrease in supply schedule. Banks will increase the exchange. So when there is a decrease in the supply schedule, banks will increase the exchange to the level at which the amount demanded is equal to the amount supplied in the foreign exchange market. So overall, in this part, the focus is to understand the exchange rate. How do we determine exchange rate? What does it mean that one currency appreciated, another currency depreciated? And we started to take a look at supply and demand, try to understand the methodology. How do they react to price changes? Supply increased, demand didn't increase. So with time, I need you to understand this effect of increase in supply, increase in both demand and supply, etc. Because each of these is very vital in understanding how do we determine the price of a currency. Then we move to the calculation. So the calculation is very critical for us now. So maybe before, when we travel, we used to take a look at two currencies and understand and make some conclusion that it appreciated or it depreciated, but we didn't really care because the difference was few ringgits, so we didn't really bother. Now, when we move to businesses and big businesses, when you buy raw materials worth millions of ringgits, you need to be very, very exact. You cannot, it's not 1 ringgit. The difference is not few ringgits anymore. It's thousands of ringgits. So when it comes to businesses, you need to calculate the changes in these currencies, get these changes and understand how it is going to change, maybe from 1 month to another, maybe from 1 year to another, because it will change many things. So you will have maybe to find another place to buy from. Why? Not because their goods or services are not good anymore, but simply because your currency depreciated against their currency. So now you need to pay a price which is not suitable for you to make profits anymore. Okay, so we will end this part here and we will continue with the factors that play a role in changing the value of these currencies in the next video. Thank you very much for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.